If you're planning on taking a huge trip to go see a major wrestling show in the near future, before making these plans, check out WrestlingTravel.com. It's convenient. They organize the travel packages for you, and you get to hang out with other wrestling fans, meet wrestling personalities and stars, and have the entire travel experience taken care of for you. So if you're going to WrestleMania in Tampa next year, the Royal Rumble in Houston, All Out and StarCast, or even New Japan's Wrestle Kingdom, WrestlingTravel.com has a package for you. Check them out, click the link down below, and have a great trip. New Japan's big summer kickoff show, Dominion 2019, is in the books. And if you're looking to wash that really bad taste out of your mouth from that Super Showdown from Friday, that terrible show WWE put on Saudi Arabia, this might be the show for you. It was a really, really good Dominion show. I don't think it was as good as last year's Dominion, but last year's Dominion also had Kenny Omega and Kazuchika Okada in a 2 out of 3 falls classic. I mean, that was an incredible, incredible match. This year had a great main event, don't get me wrong, but a match like Omega Okada is just very hard to top. And no, this show was also not on the level of the Wrestle Kingdom shows, but as far as pay-per-views go, as far as wrestling-wise goes, this is one of the better shows we've seen so far of the year. But New Japan always delivers with great wrestling. You're always going to get at least 2 or 3 great matches, sometimes even classics, on every single show. And you're going to get the progression of storylines. So this show, I think, worked because it wasn't extremely long. I thought it worked. Everybody had a good time. They didn't jam the show with too many wrestlers. I thought they progressed the storylines a lot more. So it was a good show. It was a really, really good show. The main event, of course, Chris Jericho versus Okada for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. Okada wins with a roll up, or with a it was like an Oklahoma roll reversal, and got the 1, 2, 3. Jericho gets really irritated and beats the crap out of Okada after the match, trying to injure him. And then Hiroshi Tanahashi, who was doing commentary at ringside, saves Okada. So obviously that's going to be setting up a Jericho-Tanahashi dream match, which I think we are going to be getting at the Tokyo Dome. I don't see there being a big enough show to do that match before, except if they do one of the G1 shows with it. But at the same time, I feel like them waiting for the Dome show and just building it up does make a lot of sense. Jericho will probably wrestle again later in the year. I can see him having a rematch with Okada, but because of AEW and other things on Jericho's agenda, he's not going to be there full time. So I could totally see the Tanahashi-Jericho match being a Wrestle Kingdom, one of the main events on that show. But the Okada-Jericho match was good. Jericho took most of the match, which is kind of interesting. The chemistry with Okada and Jericho, to me, is not as fluid as the chemistry between Jericho and Omega, or Okada and Omega, which tells me that Omega is probably the real secret weapon here when it comes to these matches, even though Okada's incredible. Okada's actually my favorite wrestler right now, like, in the world. He's my favorite. And they delivered. I mean, they really delivered. They had a great, great match. Not a classic, I would say, but a great, great match. Now, the co-main event I thought was even better. Kota Ibushi defended the IWGP Intercontinental title against Tetsuya Naito. Now, Naito had been banged up for quite some time. This dude's been hurting, but they put together a really great, brutal match. I mean, there were bumps in this match. There were times where guys got dropped on their heads and on their... There was one spot where I swear Kota Ibushi took like a neck bump on the apron, which seemed to be like whatever to a lot of people, but there's a tremendous risk in taking a neck bump on the apron. There's also a spot where he appeared to hit his head on the apron on the way down, and it looked like, and when I mean when hit his head, I mean like his temple, and it looked like he may have knocked himself out. He did not, thankfully, but it really looked like he may have knocked himself out. He probably moved his head literally seconds before like it actually hit to soften the blow. But man, this looks scary. These guys have these crazy great matches, and they're brutal on the human body. Naito wins back the title, which surprised me because if he's hurt, I thought he would be taking some time off, and Ibushi would be having the title for a while. But Ibushi signed a contract with New Japan, so I could totally see like his future being the IWGP Heavyweight Champion. In fact, I could totally see Kota Ibushi against Okada in the Dome as well for the title. So that was really, really good. My other favorite match on the card is probably from the guy who, even though Okada is the best wrestler, I think, or I'm sorry, is my favorite wrestler right now, I think the best wrestler in the world I mean, it's hard to argue like against guys like Johnny Gargano or even AJ Styles, who is injured right now, but Will Ospreay's got to be right up there. I mean, if you're ranking work rate, great matches of 2019, Ospreay, I mean, and 2018, hell, he's up there. He went against Dragon Lee for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight title. This was my other favorite match on the show. Everything about this match, from the beginning, the psychology that they had, trying to put moves on each other and them getting out of it. Then they quickly went into Hurricane Rana Pescado territory. I mean, these guys were doing, as always, Ospreay is like the evolution of wrestling. He is the perfect package in many ways. He has a great look. He has a lot of charisma. And he does moves that other people just cannot do with such fluidity. I mean, there was maybe one sloppy move in this whole match. Another unbelievable match by Ospreay, who won. He won the title. So the push that they're giving Ospreay is, I think warranted, because he always delivers. And then, of course, he challenged Robbie Eagles for the Australian New Japan show on June 29th. Now, the rest of the card, they did Tama Tonga and Tangaloa against Evil and Sonata. Good match. These guys always deliver good stuff. There's a lot of crowd work here. There's a lot of, it's just a very basic tag match, but a good one nonetheless. I do think the tag division in New Japan needs more talent. Losing the Young Bucks did hurt them a little bit. Sho and Yo are obviously going to be good, but I think they need more new teams to come in and kind of spice things up. Tomohiro Ishii against Taichi for the Never Openweight title. This was wacky, but in a good way. It's your typical Never championship, headbutts, forearms, big suplexes. It's the tough man title, is what I like to call it. But Ishii hit the vertical drop brainbuster, and it didn't look as brutal as others have in the past, which I think is a good thing, so I don't want these guys to get injured or anything. But I like the match. Not the best, but I like the match. Again, there's great matches here, good matches, but it's not like Tokyo Dome level. They also did Hiroshi Tanahashi, Juice Robinson, and Ryusuke Taguchi against Jay White, Chase Owens, and Taiji Ishimori. 6-man tag, didn't really go too long. This is meant to progress the Tanahashi versus Jay White feud, which is still continuing ever since Jay White beat him for the IWGP title back in February. And it's kind of funny, too, because Omega beat Okada at last year's Dominion. Tanahashi beat Omega at Wrestle Kingdom. And then he dropped the belt a month later to Jay White, who dropped it 2 months later to Okada. So it's like, why'd they even bother putting the belt off of Okada? I guess to do that at Tanahashi, victory at Wrestle Kingdom, like, maybe his last big title win ever, with how banged up he is and how he's kind of become like the Babe Ruth guy, while Okada's like the main draw, but Tanahashi's still there. He's just kind of, he's like, the legendary star or whatever, like what John Cena is now. I just wonder why they even bother. But the Jay White experiment did not go as planned. Jay White, I think, is good, but I don't think he's Okada level, to be honest with you, in my opinion. And I think at some point he might be. Don't get me wrong. I'm not giving up on the guy, but I think him working with Tanahashi for a little bit more might make him a better worker. Not might, probably will. What am I saying? Liger and Yoshihashi against Minoru Suzuki and Zack Sabre. I love this match. I love Minoru Suzuki. Of course, he's been feuding with Liger for some time now, and they were trying to get to each other. They teased it. Zack Sabre and Minoru Suzuki is the kind of team that I want to I like that team. I really like that team, and I hope that we see that team go against really every team. I want to see them in a long feud. I would like it against Tama Tonga and Tangaloa. I would like to see that. I think they can deliver some good stuff. Then the last really great match on the show. Well, I really love this match. Shingo Takagi against Satoshi Kojima. Kojima, of course, a star of the past. Similar to Shingo in many ways. I have seen Shingo wrestle for literally 13 years, I think. 13, 14 years. The first time I ever saw him wrestle live was down here in Florida for FIP. And I saw his last match ever in FIP in 2007. And the dude has just gone on to become a top guy in Dragon Gate. And now he's on his way to being a top guy in New Japan. I can totally see if this dude keeps it up. I can totally see him getting a shot at the Never Championship. He'd be a great Never champion. And maybe, because he has charisma, maybe Okada. Maybe he will face Okada at some point. I think it would be a great match. Right now, he's only lost one time. One time in New Japan. And they are building him up as having that great record. So, of course, he went over on Kojima. Kojima's Again, star of the past. He's not the future. He'll be putting guys over, and he did a great job here. And the opening match was Jon Moxley, the former Dean Ambrose, beating Shota Umino. Shota Umino's a young boy. I don't want to say jabroni, but he is an enhancement guy. He might be a big deal someday. Pretty much got squashed by Jon Moxley. Cut a promo after the match saying that he wants to be in the G1. Also, Shingo cut a promo very similarly saying he wants to be in the G1. And then we had the return to Japan of Kenta, otherwise known as Hideo Itami from NXT. Didn't really do anything in NXT, dude. I mean, what a waste, if you ask me. Very talented guy, but kind of got shown to be kind of a small guy in the WWE land of the Giants. He came back, actually came back with Shibata, which I thought was great. I was wondering if Shibata was going to come into the G1, because I know he had a career-ending neck injury, but guys always come back from these things, or at least they try. You know, a lot of guys do. But no, he was there to kind of show support for the returning Kenta, who is not going to Pro Wrestling. No, he's going to Right New Japan, and he'll be in the G1. So just with those three guys, Moxley, Kenta, and Shingo in the G1, we've already got a lot of great matches. Just those three guys, and you know they're going to bring in more guys. You know it's going to be packed. Zack Sabre might be in it. They haven't announced all the names yet, but obviously Tanahashi, you know, well, he might. I don't know how his body is. Naito may be in it. We'll see, but it'll be a great G1 nonetheless with some new people in it this year, and I'm very excited. Overall, good, solid show. You can watch it on NJPW World. You can watch it there, and I had a good time watching it, and it was, like I said, not on the level of like a Wrestle Kingdom, but it was really good, really fun. Very basic show, but I was not bored, and that's the most important thing. Thanks again. Let me know if you saw the show and what your thoughts are on it. And check out WrestlingTravel.org or .com, same thing. Try out one of those packages because we can all go together. I might go to Wrestle Kingdom. It's a possibility, very likely. And if so, y'all can hang out with me. We can go all over Japan and troll. So if you're, not troll, but, you know, explore. So if you came over here from Geekdom 101, yes, we can go shopping for anime stuff, and that would be great. Along with trying out some of those Japanese games, I'm really excited for it. So again, no promises. I'm not 100% sure I'm going to go, but I might go. So again, either way, you should go. WrestlingTravel.com.org. Check it out. Talk to you soon.